The Youth Parliament will now consider the third motion of the day, public transport. The full motion is as printed on the order paper. I call the Member of Youth Parliament from Thurrock to move the motion.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Public transport is an essential part of living in the modern world. However, for many young people, the obscene prices they have to pay make it inaccessible. Why are young people being left with no other option than to use transport that is often late, overcrowded or cancelled, all while being charged such high prices? Currently, there is a postcode lottery on who gets affordable, high quality and safe public transport. In some areas, young people benefit from direct, affordable and timely transport services, whereas in other areas, young people are left to fend for themselves. This discrepancy leaves many young people at a disadvantage to their peers and gives them fewer opportunities to succeed. When I asked young people in my constituency about the concerns they have, 42% of them said that public transport was the most pressing issue for them. This is clear evidence that a lack of affordable public transport is at the forefront of young people's minds. They want a more affordable and efficient public transport system, and it is our responsibility as their representatives to work towards this goal. The National Travel Survey shows that 15% of all bus journeys are made by young people, much more than any other age group. Additionally, young people with disabilities are also failed by the transportation system in the UK. Currently, young people with a disability pass in the UK cannot use their pass until 9:30. Who starts school or college at 9:30? Young people in my constituency have raised concerns about this matter, stating that if they don't have the money for their ticket, they either turn up late or don't go to school or college at all. Young people with SEND are already vulnerable, so why are we making it even harder for them? If we had free transport for young people, this would not be an issue. Public transport is a lifeline, not a luxury, for many young people around the UK, and I believe that public transport for all young people should be free. Young people are the future, and decision makers should be investing in them. If young people could access free and efficient public transport, it would guarantee their access to education, work and the community, enabling them to become independent adults and giving them a better start in life.
The general debate is now open, and I call you, the person in the red.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name is Elaf Al-Najjar, the Member of Youth Parliament for Hammersmith and Fulham in London. Members of Youth Parliament, I rise today to advocate for a policy that's not just a convenience, not just a financial relief, but a fundamental investment in the future for our nation, which supports the empowerment of all young people. Embedding free, or at least affordable public transport for all young people across the UK is not only desirable, but necessary. For far too many young people, the price of a bus fare is the price of opportunity denied. As a young Londoner with a zip card that experiences free bus travel and discounted trains, in London, my experience is vastly different from a young person in the north, and this difference needs to change. Free transport ensures that education, work experience, and personal development are open to all, not just those who can afford it. As a whole, it's imperative we break down those barriers to young people being able to achieve and be successful. How can we expect a young person to dream big when they can't even afford the journey? The increasing cost of public transport stops young people from being able to fulfill their potential. We must create a means which breaks down barriers for young people. Investing in free public transport for young people is an investment in a more educated, more employed, and more educated generation. Thank you.
I call the person here with the glasses.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name is John Zeng and I'm from the North East. It is around £5 for a day ticket in my area. Now, if I bought a day ticket for every single day of the month, it will cost me around £150 per month. That money could be put into other necessities such as food, water, gas and electric bills for families in more dire situations. Travel expenses can also make young people more anxious and worried that if they don't plan their money out properly, they may not be able to get home if they lose their ticket or whatever. Anyways, if travel was for free for people aged 17 and under, money can be saved for those people and can be spent on themselves and their families with their friends, with no impact or compromise to their current family situation at home. It could also be better for the environment because parents do not have to bring their child by car to their location because the child does not want to pay for the bus fare. Not only that, it could also probably decrease the amount of people staying at home during summer holidays and increase socializing because travel becomes much more accessible. Thank you.
The person now, the third row up with the tie on there. Nice tie.
Mila Myoga, Can Corla, is more an honour doing Shassu and Shaw. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name is Cian Halls and I'm the MYP for Foyle. In the north of Ireland, everything is so Belfast-centric. It costs my constituents £11.50 for a bus to Belfast. When 25% of my constituents live in poverty and food bank usage has risen 11% in the last year, this simply isn't acceptable. Free transport isn't just about a free trip into the town or into your friend's house. It is about connecting communities and building relationships, which is the cornerstone of our society. 25% of young people in my constituency, again, live in poverty. There's been consistent delays in publishing an anti-poverty strategy by the local executive in Northern Ireland, and whenever young people are having to dish out £3.60 just to get into the city centre, it simply isn't good enough. Gurmila Mayogut.
The person right in the back row in the bright pink.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm Zafira Karim, an MYP for Gloucestershire. A society divided by opportunity is a society divided by inequality. For young people across the United Kingdom, the cost of travel isn't just a financial burden. It's a barrier to education, employment, and civic participation. Every denied journey isn't just an inconvenience, it is an injustice that traps ambition behind invisible walls. And Madam Deputy Speaker, really, what is freedom if it's only granted to those who can afford it? When a ticket's price holds back potential, we are not just limiting movement, we are limiting futures. Free public transport isn't just about convenience either. It's about fairness. It's about ensuring that every young person from the Scottish Highlands to the valleys of Wales, from Belfast to the heart of London can pursue their dreams without being shackled by financial barriers. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Imagine a world where no young person is forced to turn down education, job opportunities or social connections simply because they can't afford the bus fare. Public transport isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. That's why making it free for young people isn't just fair, it's smart. Many young people rely on buses and trains to get to school, college or work. Yet transport costs are rising, putting unnecessary financial strain on families. In London, free bus fares for under 18s has helped thousands stay in education and feel more independent. Shouldn't young people across the country have the same opportunity? This isn't just about saving money, it's about investing in the next generation. Let's break down barriers and ensure every young person has the freedom to move, learn and grow. The future starts with action today.
In the back row with the lilac tie.
Hello everyone, I'm Toby Goldsmith and I'm from Nottinghamshire. From my point of view, bus fares are now far too high for young people. After the recent increase in price from £2 to £3, many young people cannot afford to take the bus. This is unfair and we need change now. Thank you.
Person now with the long hair.
Good afternoon, Madam Deputy. Travel is a detrimental part of a young person's daily life, whether it's school, work, university, or even just a social life. Transport is essential, but for many of us, it's also too expensive. Right now, the cost of transport is a barrier. Young people are expected to study, work and contribute to society, and many face issues due to the price of travel. Free transport would change that. In Scotland, we have a Young Scot card, and honestly, it has saved my life. I'm a 45-minute train journey to school every single day, and when my mum isn't working at the school, I have to take that bus. Sorry, it's a bus journey, just put that out there. 45 minutes. I study, but that is so expensive for those who are not able to pay for that. If you lose your Young Scot card, it usually takes a few weeks to come back, and you're left paying for that transport for no reason. Free transport would also reduce traffic, cut carbon emissions, and encourage more young people to use greener travel options. As I said, Scotland already offer this. Some people may say it's too expensive, but investing in the future for young people, investing in the young people is investing in the future. If we want a fairer and greener future, free transport for young people is a massive step in the right direction. Thank you.
The person in the second row. No, you stand up again in the burgundy jacket.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm Sarah Parker, representing the Ribble Valley, Rosendale and Hindon. Young people have to, by law, attend school or other forms of education until they are aged 18. This means spending hundreds every year on bus tickets and train tickets just to attend school and receive the basic fundamental rights of an education. Due to the recent bus ticket cap increase to £3 a journey, this could amount to £30 a week spent on buses, and if travelling by train, this can be even higher. That is over £1,000 a year, which people, particularly in the current economic climate, simply can't afford. Even more so because of the previously mentioned notion of the pay disparities for 16-year-olds who earn £6.40, soon to be £7.55 an hour. This leads to students not having enough money to afford their dinner, as well as trying to save for maybe a car, driving lessons and for university. This increased level of anxiety and stress regarding money shows plainly the reason why public transport for young people to receive the education they deserve, as well as job opportunities out of their town, should be free. I implore you to vote for this notion. Thank you.
The back row stood up in the white shirt. You.
Me. What? Me. Okay. Hi, thank you, Speaker. I'm John Carlo Mempo, representing Rotherham. This policy is the most pertinent to young people, as public transport aids young people getting to school, work, appointments, and other aspects of their life. As someone attending a school in which many students rely on the school bus, multiple young people are left unable to travel to school due to cost, showing how the cost of transport forms a barrier for the most vulnerable in society. It's these vulnerable people that will miss out on the PSHE lessons when prioritising what days to attend to school, meaning they'll miss out on the political education many of us have argued for. Rather than focusing on something the government has now made policy, we should be using these resources to push for another policy that helps young people more. Thank you.
The person with the long brown hair.
Thank you. My name is Amelia and I represent Medway as my constituency. I agree with this statement. Personally, I can tell you that young people from my constituency, as well as myself, come from a ruralised area where transport is fundamental to access our education. As transport is such a necessity to provide us with essential education, it is important for young people to have access to affordable and reliable public transport. This also can affect attendance, and which could also affect their education. Thank you.
The person with the building at the top.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Young people should not have to pay for the privilege of getting to school. My fellow MYPs, I ask you to consider a group of young people you may not have before. In my local area of Brent, many young people, especially during their GCSEs and A-levels, are forced to move homes out of their local area due to a lack of social housing. These young people are already facing unimaginable stress and instability, and then must travel to and from school to complete their qualifications. For 16 to 18-year-olds in London, that's £2.20 per trip, adding up to £858 a year. Even for under 16s, that's £370.50. And this is not just an issue in London. Across the UK, transport costs are extortionate, with young people in rural and suburban areas facing even higher costs just to get to school. This financial burden disproportionately impacts those already facing social inequality. Money spent on transport would be better spent on essentials like food, books, and school supplies. This is more than just about getting to school. It's about the opportunities lost when young people are weighed down by financial stress. Social mobility should not be determined by your postcode or the cost of your commute. Thank you.
The person on the back row, waving the order paper in the grey top.
My name's Caddy Combo from Warwickshire, West Midlands. Words cannot express my dedication and relentless commitment I harbour towards getting free public transport for all under 18s. I believe that everybody, no matter their financial background, should have equal access to equal opportunities. It's simple. When transport's free, young people can access employment opportunities, education, and can be prevalent members in society without having transport as a boundary. The less privileged youth miss out on transcendent opportunities, and we shouldn't have a shadow to be cast over this issue. Just to attend this meeting today, a train ticket from Royal Leamington Spa to London Marylebone would have costed me £147.45. So for the four of us, it would have been almost £600. In some places, this would have cost a month's rent, which is unacceptable. You may say we may abuse this right, but it's only a potential minority that may, and it shouldn't have an effect on those that need it. So with your help, Mrs. Deputy Speaker, we can break these prominent boundaries down today. Thank you.
Right on the far with the green jacket on, second row.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Lowry from RCT. When I questioned my constituents about what issue was the most pressing to them, nearly 40% of my constituents said this motion. And that is because transport in our area is extortionate. For my daily commute, for a single ticket to travel less than 1.5 miles is £2.90. Our young people are unable to afford this, and this is just a commute to and from school. How are they expected to also partake in leisure activities, extracurriculars? It's unfair. Our young people deserve better, and we should be the change that we wish to see.
The person in the second row back with the glasses on who's just sat down, please stand back up, yes.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I would like to raise the issue of access. In Hartlepool, my constituency, we have many affordable solutions for transport. However, we lack often routes. You cannot get a bus in Hartlepool between our headland and Seaton Carew. While I do welcome this motion and it will support many people, we also need to talk about quality of transport. We have a lot of issues with buses breaking down. In Hartlepool, we have a transport users group which often meets to discuss these issues and attempt to make things better. We have some solutions, Madam Deputy Speaker, such as the number 12, which has been drawn up by a fantastic young man. But we need these in action, and this alone is not enough. Free transport for young people is great, but we need equality and access for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm Pranav Agrawal and I'm from the east of England. Imagine a UK where every young person has the freedom to access education, employment and social opportunities without the burden of transport costs holding them back. My city, Peterborough, has already made a significant change in its transport costs for young people by introducing a £1 bus fare, which more than 17,000 young people have already applied for. But I know that we can push the price down further. Right now, the cost of public transport is still a major barrier for young people, costing just under £1,000 a year for many in the UK, just to go to school. Many students and young workers struggle to afford public transport costs, limiting their opportunities and deepening social inequality. By making transport free for young people, we invest in the future. Free public transport for young people isn't just a dream, it's an essential investment in a fairer society, a greener future, and a generation that can prosper without limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name's Sukpreet and I'm a Member of Youth Parliament for Kent. Imagine a student who has to skip after-school revision because they can't afford the extra bus fare, or a sixth former who wants to attend a university open day but finds the train ticket too expensive, or a teenager who misses out on work experience because getting there costs too much. Public transport shouldn't decide a young person's future. It should open doors, not close them. Free transport wouldn't just help students, it would reduce congestion, cut emissions, and create a habit of using sustainable travel for life. No one should have to miss out on education or opportunities just because they cannot afford the journey. Giving young people free public transport means giving them the freedom to learn, grow and succeed, no matter where they live or what they can afford. Thank you.
The person on the third row back with the green top. You.
Hi, I'm Molly O'Donnell and I'm from West Tyrone. For 15 years, I've been relying on my parents to travel. I need their money to take the bus as I have no source of personal income. I need them and their car to get around as I'm too young to drive. I need money to travel, which I do not have. How is it fair that elderly people who can drive, debatably, and receive money get free public transport, yet us young people don't? This is an issue in my lovely constituency of West Tyrone in particular, a very rural area with few trains and fewer opportunities due to not being able to access cities, and sorry, I meant no trains. On behalf of my constituents, free public transport is only fair so us young people can access things as we wish. Gar my other.
The second row back, holding the order paper in the nice green. No, please. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name is Finlay Venables and I'm an MYP for Halton. In the UK, public transport fares remain a huge barrier to many young people's mobility. According to a 2020 UK Campaign for Better Transport report, nearly 1 in 3 families were unable to cope with transport costs in that year, with young people and students particularly hard hit. Introducing free public transport would ensure that young people from all backgrounds can access education, work and leisure activities, thus promoting opportunity and social mobility. This would also support our environmental goals. The UK government wants to achieve net zero by 2050, and research indicates that young people's use of public transport may help inculcate into sustainable habits for life. Studies in cities like London, where young people already enjoy free travel, show positive impacts on car use and air quality. A 2021 report from the Department for Transport indicated that 16 to 19-year-olds, school students, one of the largest groups of commuters, and usually do not have the funds to actually use transport. Free transport for young people would reduce the cost of transport, as well as encouraging young people's independence and responsibility in order to build a healthy, active society.
With the blue shirt on and the light pink t-shirt on.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm Timmy and I'm very happy to be representing the Royal Borough of Greenwich. I just want to put one point forward, and that's school. And school isn't free. And you might be thinking, well, school is free, but it isn't. How is it free when you can't even get to it? We have, when you're doing things like food and technology, you have to pay for the ingredients you're making. Or when you have to do art and design, you have to get the paper and all of these different things. And there are multiple barriers to people who attend school. And we have tried in the past to remove these barriers. Free school meals, despite us wanting to extend it further, is available to those in poverty to remove barriers to education. It's all about transport. School will never be free in the UK until transport to get there is also free. Thank you.
The person from Lily Guns in the very back row with the cream top on.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name is Ayatollahi Erdogan, representing Sandwell. How do you tell a child that they can't access facilities to support them, the facilities that they need? They can't go to the schools or colleges they want because they can't afford the bus fare. That their dreams depend on whether their family can spare a couple of pounds. I've seen young people walk miles in the cold, in the dark, through dangerous streets because they can't afford transport. Because although education is free, getting there is not. And poverty is not just about hunger, it's isolation. It is opportunity held hostage by the price of a ticket. If movement is a privilege, then so is the future. And I believe that this nation is a graveyard of lost potential, and I genuinely mourn for the generations to come if this change does not happen.
The person Second row from the back with the long, dark hair. I'll take you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
My name is Wania Ahmed, and I am proud to represent Leeds. Madam Deputy Speaker, how many times have we heard a politician or a policymaker say young people are the future? If they are the future, shouldn't we be investing in them now? Public transport is a lifeline for so many young people. It's how they get to school, to jobs, and to opportunities. But too often, the high cost of travel is a barrier to their success. 1 in 4 young people in the UK struggle with the cost of transport. That's a quarter of the next generation of workers, employers, and leaders, held back by something as simple as getting them from one place to another. By making public transport free for young people, we remove this barrier, opening up opportunities for them to thrive. Free transport is an investment in their future, in social mobility, and in environmental sustainability. Let's make public transport a tool for equality, not a privilege for the few. Because when we invest in public transport, we invest in a stronger, more vibrant society. Thank you.
The person in the white jersey.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Chair. I'm Ari Bauji and I represent Central Hampshire. This contingent of people is quite large who want free public transport. But may I divert your attention very slightly to an issue that has been raised earlier today, but that will also be raised next. Political literacy. Young people say that you want to earn the right to vote at the age of 16, but you cannot do so without the knowledge required in politics to augment your credibility. To do so, we must make everyone politically literate. Instead of wasting more time talking about free transport, free everything, free pregnancy and period pads, I think we should focus more on political literacy, as it enhances our future and builds the foundation for young people to vote younger in the future. Thank you very much.
The person on the second row back holding his order paper up.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I am Jamie and I represent the Highlands and Islands in Scotland. In Scotland, every young person is entitled to a Young Scot card, which allows young people to access free buses around Scotland. Why is it limited to buses and at that Scottish buses? Speaking from experience, not all young people have easy access to bus stops and stations, and sometimes have to pay even more than 1 hour of working at national minimum wage, around £12 to get to the nearest city from my town, just to get to work, to see friends, family, or travelling to an education facility. This needs fixed. All young people over the United Kingdom deserve the right to free transport, no matter if it is a bus, a train, or a ferry. We need to work together as young representatives to make transport free for all of our constituents.
And the last speech from the back bench is the person with the pink scarf on.
My name is Honey Barker. I'm here to represent West London Furness. For the 19,000 young people in such a rural area, we depend on the expensive and often unreliable public transport as the only way to access work, school and leisure. With better access to transport, young people in rural areas can improve their both mental and their physical health. They can go to school. They can spend their time on pastimes which will make them feel better and make them leave the house more, which is especially important in rural areas where you can often feel isolated in small villages and communities. In rural areas, jobs are hard to come by. In rural areas, young people rely on public transport. Do we want to choose overcharging young people, or do we want to choose a better quality of life for our young people? Thank you.
We'll pick a few more in. The person there with the long blonde hair.
Me, sorry. I just wanted to, thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm from Norfolk, and so I wanted to raise the question about rural constituencies, which are greatly disadvantaged in the fact of public transport. We lack the infrastructure that we desperately need, which can make public transport quite dangerous, particularly with bus stations being on the side of dark roads or near forests with no lights. It can make it extremely dangerous to walk home. Including the fact that we're quite isolated out in the countryside, which means that it can be quite dangerous and that transportation is a necessity. And we really need the infrastructure. And so when you raise the question of public transport being free, that doesn't have a great as effect as we need because we don't actually have the infrastructure that's required for it. Additionally, the interval of buses and trains is too wide. So if you miss one, you miss your job interview, you miss your school. And yeah, that's not great.
Person with the curly hair.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name is Vin Stokes and I'm the Youth MP for St Helens in the North West. I would firstly like to start by saying that as soon as we say the word universal or free, we immediately face many challenges. Despite this, I'm optimistic that this motion is possible, as the Scottish Government have already done a free bus scheme for under 22-year-olds. This has presented many benefits like increased disposable income, enhanced access to opportunities and the reduction in household transport costs. However, this in Scotland is projected to cost 200 million in reimbursement claims alone, and in England we have more young people and a greater geographical size, meaning the cost will only rise. Bear in mind the 200 million is only for the bus scheme. The cost of other public transports, like trains, are still an uncertain variable and a risk for us to take. Though I fully believe in the potential of this motion and the concept in and of itself, I am unsure of how we will be able to sustain our commitments to the public. So I urge you to vote not on what you think is ideal, but what you think is realistic and something that we can do. Thank you.
I call the Member of Youth Parliament from Barnet to conclude the debate.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Transport is the backbone of our daily lives. It connects us to friends, family, education and jobs. But in the UK, our transport system is outdated and failing. Broken promises on major projects like HS2, along with cuts to 8,000 bus routes since 2010, have left us with a system that's unreliable, expensive and disconnected. For many, bus fares aren't just a daily expense. They're an added burden that during a cost of living crisis, struggling individuals simply cannot afford. Young people who are economically disadvantaged are missing out on vital opportunities just because they can't afford a basic fare. Centre for Cities reported in 2020 that 40 cities and towns exceeded the World Health Organization pollution limits, destroying the climate and risking the lives of those with medical conditions. By giving young people free public transport, we reduce emissions, ease congestion, and encourage greener habits that protect our planet for generations to come. For too long, governments have overlooked the radical benefits free public transport would offer young people, such as increasing access to social activities and improving our mental health. It's not just about saving money, it's about freedom. Freedom to explore new places, freedom to experience new things, and freedom to truly make the most of what's meant to be the best years of our lives. We must call on decision makers to work with transport operators through public-private partnerships to create government-funded schemes and support local councils to develop regional solutions that best fit their communities to build a happier, healthier and limitless young generation. Some ask, can we afford it? We answer, can we afford not to? It's time for the government to invest in us, in our future, in financial equality and a greener, more connected society. Thank you.